and welcome to Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weisberg here, along with Stephanie Burke, Science Advisor Matt Moniz, and the Silent Assassin Matt Costa. We are here to talk about the paranormal, as we are each and every Saturday night, broadcasting live here on WBSM, as well as streaming on the Radio Pup app. If you are traveling around, you want to listen to us no matter where you are, you can do so on the Radio Pup app. Just search for WBSM. And also streaming live video on SpookyTV.com, which you can also get from SpookySouthCoast.com. Hey, there I am. Because we have some changes tonight to the way that we are doing Spooky TV. Matt Costa, is this official, or is this a test run? What are we calling this?
I think everything is a test run.
That's true.
That's what we do.
But this looks fantastic. I'm looking at the Spooky TV feed, which we are now streaming through YouTube, as opposed to Ustream.
Right. After years of kind of flying by the seat of our pants, going through this, we're trying to improve Spooky TV yet again.
Well, we
always do.
Yeah,
we always do.
We appreciate the effort.
We're always brainstorming before and after the show, and kind of going over ideas and trying to try new things and give you, the listener, the quality that you deserve when it comes to Spooky Southcoast.
I know that we've had a lot of issues with the streaming, and we've been trying to do it because we feel like it's a great added benefit for the show. But I just want to thank you, Matt Costa, for all the effort that you put into that, because you're really the one that has been keeping that. If you had left me,
my name on this.
Well, I was gonna say, if you had left me in charge of it, we would have stopped doing it like in week 3 of the video streaming. So the fact that you have consistently found ways to improve this and update it is huge.
The few people out there that are kind of continue listening and continue watching throughout all our growing pains. Appreciate it.
Well, and the other thing that people have been asking for and kind of complaining about is that they have missed the chat feature that we used to have on the old Spooky TV, but the station's firewall and security and everything kept us from being able to use that chat program that we used to use, because let's face it, folks, to be honest with you, anybody that uses that chat feature, it's probably completely infecting your computer with all kinds of spyware and adware and all that stuff. So they're protected against that stuff here at the station. So that chat software didn't work. But now on this YouTube chat, you can actually join into the chat room. So if you're watching on Spooky TV, you'll see the Twitter feed going down the side. That's using the hashtag SpookyLive on Twitter. But if you click that little YouTube link at the bottom of the video screen, it will take you to the chat. And I know, Matt, you had said you're going to try and find a way to embed that chat into our site, but if not, as long as we can always just kick people over to YouTube too.
Right.
YouTube's they're kind of big. It's taken off a little bit.
I've heard of them before, so I figured we could utilize their services.
They get all that Google money behind them,
right.
So we can certainly we can throw them a bone once in a while. So certainly check it out. So basically, if you're on YouTube, if you're sitting at home and you're listening to the show on the radio, and you have access to your computer or your phone, just go to YouTube. Look up the Spooky Southcoast channel, and you will see that we are broadcasting live video right now. And you'll be able to watch as you listen. Which, normally we say, why would you want to see our faces? No offense, Stephanie, yours is kind of okay.
Oh, thanks.
Ours are the problems. Yours is all right. But a lot of people like to see what goes on, and sometimes we're talking about UFO photos or ghost photos, and it's easy to be able to bring those photos up on video, so it adds that extra element for people who are listening. And for people who listen live on podcasts later on, it's going to be a lot easier, Matt, I would assume, to get these videos up on YouTube now when the show is over.
Yeah, it's going to kind of make our lives hopefully a little bit easier.
Especially since I dumped all the video archiving onto you.
Right, but YouTube has some good tools that we could utilize.
So we will continue to find ways to improve it, or at least get to the point where we can just coast on the video stream. But tonight we have an action-packed show for you. We're going to have kind of a little bit of a floating format to some degree tonight. We're going to be joined in just a few minutes by Alex Matsuo. She is a writer who writes about the paranormal, and she also has posted some articles on paranormalenlightenment.com. Now, normally I would look at a web address like that and say, Paranormal Enlightenment? Do I really want to go to this? Because, where am I going to get dragged in terms of this discussion? But she had a great article that I found called, that analyzes the effect that social media has had on the paranormal field. And we have talked about this in the past here on the show. but I want to kind of get another person's perspective on this and how it helps and how it hurts. So we will do that coming up at about 10:30, and she'll join us for a while. And then later on in the program, we'll be joined by Marc Arvilla and Lauren Sheridan, the organizers of SalemCon, which is happening next weekend. So basically, I'm pretty sure you guys all have the night off next week. And I think I'm going to try to record a fresh show during the week this week and then give it to the station for airing. So that even Matt, you don't even have to come in to run it. Wouldn't that be good if I could actually pull that off?
Nice.
Yeah, don't hold me to that. It's a lot of work. But no, we're going to try and definitely have something fresh for you. I won't be there. And Stephanie, are you coming to SalemCon? Are we announcing that you'll be there?
I guess so.
Well, our guest last week, Nicole LaHoose, will be there.
Yes, she will.
And she'll be doing her aura photography.
Right.
And so we are dragging you to sit at my table
yes.
and help with her table. And
yes.
And basically just have fun.
Lots of shenanigans.
Absolutely. And did you put in the order?
The order.
For the energy drinks.
Yes.
All right, because you were going to sell a ton of those It Works energy drinks.
I hope so.
After the VIP party Friday night, when everybody comes in Saturday morning and they're like...
Uh-huh.
And I will be kicking off SalemCon with the first lecture of the day at 9:30 in the morning, which is really funny because I'm on the air in my hotel room until 9 in the morning.
Right, right.
So please forgive me if I am not showered, if I'm wearing the same clothes from the night before, and if I am complaining all day about how badly I need a cup of coffee and some breakfast. Oh, wait, Stephanie's going to be there. I will give you directions to the nearest Dunkin' Donuts.
All right, that's amazing, because I need donuts.
And right now I need some water, so...
Right.
I've been ring announcing all night.
You have?
Yes. Congratulations to everybody at House of Bricks for another fantastic show. We had a capacity crowd at Dublin's, and we'll actually be heading back out April 23rd for another show at the Moose Lodge in New Bedford. They just announced tonight. So, maybe you guys can come and check it out and hang out for a while and get involved. Maybe we could, fight another paranormal radio show.
I do love a good Moose Lodge.
And the Grand High Moose will be
actually.
there. You've been to a couple Moose Lodges?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's like not a gentleman's club, but like
not that kind of gentleman's club.
Like the Elks, or it's kind of a cool place.
I was going to ask, is it the Elks, or is it different than the Elks?
It's kind of the same principles, I guess. But
it's down the street though from the Loyal Order of the Water Buffaloes, right? It's not on the same. It's not. They're not both on Rockdale.
Poobah.
Right. They're not both on Rockdale.
What is happening?
But I'll have more information about that. Because listen, there's this guy. All right. There's this wrestler. His name's Too Buff, and I didn't like the way that him and his dad, Buff Dad, treated me in the ring, forcing me to say that Too Buff was my favorite wrestler.
That's not
so.
Good.
He and I will have some words coming up on a future edition of Saturday Morning with Tim Weisberg. So stay tuned for that. But we'll save the wrestling talk for another time. I still think we could take on another paranormal show. But who else has a crew as big as ours? It'd just be a handicap match, 4 against 2, usually, most of the time.
Yeah.
I still owe Darkness Radio's Tim Dennis. I still owe him a whooping after what he did to me last year.
You guys are going to have a Yavapai Indian strap match.
Yeah, I could feel the blood of the Yavapai running all through me, brother. No, he knocked me down. He sucker punched me. I got in a good hit on him, but there's still a score to be settled there. So whether I have to go out to Minnesota or Tim Dennis has to come out to here, we're going to settle that score at some point. So don't think I haven't forgotten, Timmy. I absolutely remembered. All right, well, we are going to take a real fast break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll be joined by our first guest tonight, Alex Matsuo. She'll talk with us about her article that she wrote. We'll talk about the idea of social media and the paranormal. We'll also take your calls as well at 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420, and you can also text us 67664. Just start your text off with the letters WBSM so that we'll be able to see them. You can also tweet out your questions using the hashtag SpookyLive. And now you can put them up in the chat room on YouTube, on our YouTube channel with the live stream there going as well. So many ways to get a hold of us, so many ways to get in touch with us. We hope that you do so, and we'll be back in just a quick moment. Welcome back to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with Stephanie Burke, science advisor at Matt Moniz, and silent assassin Matt Costa. We're going to get to our guest, Alex Matsuo, in just 1 second, but first, there was a call on the line, but they just dropped off. They didn't want to wait. But again, during the show, the number is 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420, or you can text us at 67664 and start your text off with the letters WBSM if you wish to do so. But earlier tonight, I had sent out on social... Oh, here comes the call. Hold on. Let's do that before we get into it. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. You're on the air.
Now, I would ask you, does people just tackling on the trailer?
I'm having some trouble understanding you. I'm having some trouble following you. What's your question?
This happened to people down the lake.
Do you have to pay for it? Pay for what?
This credit. Their way house. Now, what happened to this tax money?
I don't know what happened.
Did it pay the IRS or tax money or on the trailer? Or?
Every time that I've ever had to deal with the IRS, I've always just made sure that I paid them. So I don't know what happens if you don't. Are you referring to the IRS tax lien commercial that was just played a few moments ago on the air?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to refer you to Alan Thicke, former television star of Growing Pains. He can help you out with the Fresh Start Initiative. So what you want to do is you want to just pick up the phone and dial 1-800-ALAN-THICKE.
Okay.
And then what will happen is you'll hear a beep at the beginning. You have to sing the entire Growing Pains theme, start to finish. Do you remember the theme? Do you remember how it starts? It starts,
okay.
Show me that smile again. And then when you're done, if you've given all the lyrics correctly, Alan Thicke will pay your IRS tax bill.
Now, what happened to taking the house away?
That I couldn't tell you. That I'm not sure.
Oh.
But if you find out, you can let me know.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to get into a discussion with our guest, but I thank you very much for the call. I hope everything goes okay. And if the IRS shows up at your house, you just tell them Alan Thicke took care of everything for you.
And that's okay. The Salem Lake is very safe.
That absolutely is. That's how it has to be. All right. Thank you very much for the call. You have a great night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's paranormal.
Right about now, Alan Thicke is listening to the show saying, "What are you doing to me, Weisberg? What did I ever do to you?" That was probably the best call in the history of Spooky South Coast. 10 years on the air. It took us to get one of those. I'm so glad that it happened tonight. Alex Matsuo, thank you for holding through that. As you can see, the world of radio can get a little wacky sometimes.
It can.
Well,
bravo on that.
Thank you very much. We do run these commercials here on the air for the IRS and helping people, especially this time of year where everybody's filing taxes. So I think that person probably is in a state right now of severe worry about their IRS tax bill, obviously, because they've decided to drown their sorrows and problems. So we do whatever we can to help. This show is all about public service.
Awesome.
And speaking of public service, the article that you wrote on Paranormal Enlightenment, we should let everybody know that you are a very well-rounded person. You are an actor, a singer, director, photographer, playwright, but you're also a paranormal investigator and researcher. You have a book that was published with Llewellyn Worldwide called The Haunting of the 10th Avenue Theater, and so you are somebody who has a lot of you're somebody who has a lot of interactions with people beyond just the paranormal world.
Right.
So in doing that, and I would assume this creates a very well-rounded outlook for you when it comes to the paranormal.
Yeah, it's interesting because I interact with a lot of different communities just in general, too, because I have my theater community, and a lot of times you're interacting with people you've never even met, just like the paranormal community, and I even had a few years where I was playing roller derby, so I also have a connection with that community as well. So, I mean, social media is the big thing in our lives now, and this is how we connect with people, it's how we network now. Even with, like, employers now, like, for those of you who are on LinkedIn, I mean, it's a great way to, connect with potential employers, figure out ways of networking. I mean, social media has pretty much taken over the world a bit, and unfortunately with social media, it can be a great asset, but it can also be a very damaging thing in your life.
Well, I'm assuming that in working with all these different communities that you do, though, that social media has a different flavor to it for each community that you're involved with. I mean, everybody is going to utilize those tools that are available to them in different ways. And I'm assuming that, for the most part, it's a mixed bag. It's a 50-50 reaction in terms of, because just people that utilize social media in regular everyday life, some of them say, every time I go on Facebook, all I have to do is hear about somebody else's drama, somebody else's life, see pictures of what they ate for dinner, hear about the fight they had with their husband or their wife. So I don't think that it's predominantly just a paranormal thing, right?
Right. Oh, no, totally. I mean, being in the entertainment business, I mean, sometimes they get a bit of drama with people, and like if there was a show or a film that got cast that didn't go in your favor, and you put up a comment about it publicly, a director or a producer may see that, and there's like, okay, so-and-so is nagging and complaining and talking smack about people. I'm not going to hire them for my next project. Or you have someone posting gym photos. That happens a lot, especially for my LA friends. I love them to pieces. There's just, you're right. There's a lot of different flavors when it comes to the different communities I'm a part of. The paranormal, though, is a very unique flavor, though.
Well, that's absolutely 100% true. But this article is on paranormalenlightenment.com, and I've seen the link a few times. I've never really spent some time on the site. Let us know a little bit about what that site is about.
It's Paranormal Enlightenment. It's actually a magazine. It was started by John C. Fowler last year. There's a lot of really good articles on it. For those of you who know who Anna Hill is, she's really known for like Ghost App Ghosts and Paranormal Dustbusters and Truth Seekers. She does some really good articles on there. It's basically a great source of information, a great collaboration of minds when it comes to paranormal articles, journals, write-ups. It's got some really good stuff. So for anyone who's looking for a place to find some really well-written articles, I'm not saying that just for me because I'm on there. There's really good material on there, and they're great learning sources for people who are trying to find a different way of learning more about the paranormal that's away from like the big conventional commercial routes, like through television shows or that sort of thing. So a lot of great material contributed by the community.
Yeah, we've had Anna on the show a couple of times, and her and I are good friends. I trust a lot of the people that are going to this site are people that feel, similar, that there's an issue going on in the paranormal world with the fact that there are a lot of people involved in it that are in it but aren't in it for the right reasons, or aren't in it for for the quest for truth, and more in it for trying to make a name for themselves or try to get themselves on television or whatever the means to the end is. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get the attention and the eyeballs on them. I'm assuming that Paranormal Enlightenment, the idea of that is to kind of bring things back to what it should be.
Yep, I would definitely say that.
Well, I mean, the other problem, though, too, is that when people become the quote-unquote watchdogs of this, they also kind of become, they become potential victims for targets for some sort of drama themselves. We've seen that happen in the past, where people have kind of spoken out on issues and called out certain things, and sometimes even named names. And what ends up happening is a lot of these people who are in it for the wrong reasons will turn their attentions over and go after those people and call them bullies. Have you encountered? And we've had Anna talk about that in the past as well. Have you encountered any feedback from anybody based on your article saying that they disagree with what you wrote and what your thesis is?
Well, so far I've gotten a lot of people who have voiced their opinions. Like, to me personally, they've agreed with the article. But I have seen, I guess we could call it passive-aggressive or indirect feedback, on different social media pages, specifically on what I like to call on the radio the Book of Face, or Facebook, where people are basically saying that I'm being too sensitive, or, times are changing, so I just need to get with the program. It's interesting. Most of the feedback I'm getting is very positive, but the feedback that the kind of feedback I'm getting is coming from the people who already have really good heads on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. So the people that I want to be reading it are either not reading it, or they read it and they're like, well, screw that, and they just keep clicking. So I guess that article has turned into I'm more preaching to the choir than anything these days. But I'm hoping, given that, granted, I know there's a few the paranormal in general. I'm not saying it's declining in popularity, but it seems like the celebrity spotlight of the paranormal is starting to diminish it a little bit, especially with all these shows that got canceled recently. So I'm hoping, maybe if the fame factor starts to slowly die away, maybe the people who are in it for the right reasons, we're going to stick it out, and, we'll still be there after the whole fame part of it's over.
See, and we have a link up on social media. But we have a link up on our social media to the actual article. But if you go to paranormalenlightenment.com, the name of the article is "Has Social Media Ruined the Paranormal Community?" And just to take a step back a little bit, Alex, you say in the article that when things first started coming together online, on the Internet, before we had social media, the Internet was a great place for like-minded people to get together and talk about this. We've discussed this with my co-host, Matt Moniz, who's been in the field for probably longer than we've all been alive. No offense, Moniz. And for him, the Internet was kind of a chance, as you said, kind of like a way to connect with people that you never would have found before.
Yeah, that's it. When it was first out there, it was a great way to reconnect or connect with people that were of like mind. And then when it became a lot more broader and everybody and their brother got on it, and it was, you were mailed a free subscription, every other week to whatever, then it became, I want to use the term jaded. Mm-hmm. Things became jaded.
Well, the free AOL hours got me through many a lonely night in college. But, Alex, you mentioned in the article that, one of the draws of that, at least in the early days of message boards and bulletin boards and all that stuff, was the anonymity factor.
Yep.
I mean, how much is...
Yep, I mean, you definitely, you had the screen name. I mean, my screen name on these message boards was Starry Eyes. That's how people knew me. And there was a security blanket there, too, because... because the Internet was so new, you didn't have, a lot of hackers or people who knew a lot about how to track you down, and that's the folly with, using Facebook these days. But you had the security blanket of you could be open and honest about your experiences, and you would suffer little to no backlash for it, or if you disagreed with someone or had an argument with somebody, there weren't many repercussions, except for maybe you might get penalized, on the message board if you took it too far, or you just pissed off another member. But the repercussions or the stakes were, in my opinion, much lower back then. And I think also people were a bit more objective back then as well, because it wasn't such a big mess. Like these days, social media has made the paranormal community a huge mess because you got these apps now where you can fake photos. You have people who will find, like, they could post a fake photo online, or they can post a photo that can be debunkable, but they'll find that group who agrees with them, and to heck with anyone who disagrees or tries to debunk anything. So,
well,
but in the earlier days, when I would talk about photos with people and stuff, it wasn't so vicious back then. It was a lot more objective, and I don't know, like, it just wasn't. There's just something different. There's something different about it, and the only thing I could think of is that it became messier as time went on.
A bunch of armchair warriors during the fight, yes. Basically it.
Yes.
Well, I think, though, the biggest issue that I have with the way that social media is used by a lot of these groups that are out there and these investigators that are out there is that you're putting out something to the broad masses that really shouldn't be going out to the broad masses. This
exactly.
is, if you have a photo that you feel has something to it, I don't think that, I would want to show it to it's hard to say, because if I thought it was interesting and I thought it could spark some discussion, I probably would share it with everybody on my social media, but I wouldn't utilize whatever they said as my actual definite answer as to what it is that I have in the photograph. I'd want to take it to photographic experts. I'd want to take it to people who know the location that it was taken at, like the back of their hand. I'd want to get it in the hands of experts and use their opinion. But social media has become a barometer more than it is anything else. It's become a way to kind of judge your own popularity and your own influence.
Yeah, exactly. And it's turned into you want to get the likes, you want to get the followers, you want to get the people who are watching your pages. You want to have that you want to have that, the tangible evidence of having a fan base. And that's what social media has become. Facebook, you have likes, you have number of members in your groups. On Twitter, you have followers. On Instagram, you have followers. On YouTube, you have subscribers. And that's what it's turned into now.
Rather than colleagues.
More fans and more followers.
Yeah, rather than colleagues.
Yep.
When you first started, I'm assuming that this isn't something that you decided, hey, I'm going to take a look at how social media impacts the paranormal and then take a look at it. I'm sure it's something that has been ongoing in your life for a number of years now, that you've seen this developing over time. So if you want to look back and go as far back as, say, the MySpace days, the days when people first started interacting with each other through these means, did it go wrong pretty much right from the beginning?
You bring up a good one, MySpace.
I wish I could remember my password. Do you know my MySpace password, Alex? No, because that would be pretty paranormal.
Justin Timberlake bought MySpace, or bought a share of it, so you might have to ask him. He
could probably access that for me. He's bringing back both sexy and my MySpace account, so I appreciate that. But no, I can't imagine right from the beginning it was a fight and an argument and drama right from day one.
Well, that's a good question, because MySpace, I had a fairly positive experience on MySpace. But I was also a lot younger then. I just turned 30 a few months ago, so... oh gosh, I joined MySpace when I was 18, so I was a very different person back then.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that I joined it pretty much from the early days, because that's right when we started this show, and it probably took me, by the time I figured out how to use it, everybody was already off of it. So at least you had a leg up on us in that regard.
Yeah. Oh, MySpace.
Well,
I wouldn't say it went downhill from the very beginning. I don't want to blame Facebook for all of it, but I guess once... Oh, gosh, I don't even think... YouTube wasn't even around that far back yet.
But see, I do kind of want to blame Facebook a little bit myself, because... And again, we should probably qualify this by saying that this is all of our kind of own subjective experiences and what we've dealt with our own social media. But when enough people are having the same issues, and when everybody in this room and you on the phone all agree with it, then I think that it's, kind of a predominant problem. But I would say that Facebook was kind of the issue, because that's when, for whatever reason, maybe it was the technology catching up to people, or people catching up to the technology, I should say, but at some point, Facebook became the way that groups presented themselves to the world. So you didn't have to have a website with case files and about your investigators and all that stuff and invest all that time. You just gave people the link to your Facebook page for your group, and that was enough. And so Facebook became a paranormal directory for people that were looking for investigative teams.
Right. Yeah, because, on MySpace you had your page and you just had, friend requests and whatnot, but that was just those are just numbers. And it's weird, because if you're Facebook famous or you're Facebook popular, then obviously you've made it in this paranormal community these days. Yeah, but with MySpace, it didn't seem like that. But like you mentioned, we still had to build our own websites. My team still has a website. But people don't even really look at my website anymore. The hits that we get on our Facebook page is much higher, much higher than our website these days, and that's a little alarming, because we try to keep the information on our Facebook page, I wouldn't say too minimal, but you would have to click on our link to know more about what we're about. And if you wanted us to come in and check out your place, you definitely had to go to the website and fill out a case submission form when you had to answer a bunch of questions. But we don't really care about the number of Facebook likes our page has. We still look at our traffic and whatnot that we're getting. But I have to say, a lot of our case recruiting now is happening from Facebook. People will find us on Facebook and shoot us a message. And then when I say, well, you need to go to our website and fill out a form, they're like, well, can't you just send it to me here? I'm like, nope, we don't have that technology with Facebook that I can send you the form. Plus, we just want to keep things streamlined, and we get a nice little database when you do it online, but on our website.
And the advantage of that, too, is if you are sending them to your website, the hope is that they've spent some time learning a little bit about who you are and what you are. Because if you're going to go to the website and all that information's right there, why not take a look at it? So they're not wasting your time and having you show up and be like, well, I only know you from Facebook, so tell me about yourself. You know what I mean? Like this way here. And exactly. as the person looking for help, it's kind of your duty to do that, because I would never just want to invite somebody that I know only from Facebook into my house.
There is a way to share, if you want. Put your form in your pictures and then share your picture to the...
You can actually send files, too, like in private messages. Just click on the little gear icon, and you can send a whole file, any form. But I think what you're saying, Alex, is that it delivers it in a way that's easily catalogable for you through your website.
Yep.
Is catalogable a word? I think so.
Yeah, we get you.
You know what I mean. So... So we have about 5 minutes left in this hour, and we have to take a break for the news, and then we can kind of continue this on the other side for a little bit. But one of the questions that I'll ask you, and this is the biggest problem that I have with Facebook and the way that paranormal investigators use Facebook for promoting themselves, is people will go into a residential case. They will take photos of the person's house, and they will put up all of these photos on their Facebook page, and no regard at all for the person who had you come into their house, about whether or not you can put their house online, whether or not you can, talk about what's going on there. People just think that because they are a public entity on Facebook, that anything that they investigate should therefore become a public entity.
And that drives me insane. It drives me absolutely insane when that happens. Or when they post statuses of we have an investigation on 1234 Cherry Lane in Richmond, Virginia, we're going to be checking out, the Johnson's house. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Right.
And half the time, sometimes I wonder, with those posts, the ones without the pictures, if they're even true, if they just want to make themselves look busy. But,
no, I never know.
I mean, with my group with my group, we have a very strict confidentiality agreement that we all sign. We don't post anything on Facebook. We don't really post evidence on our website either from our residential cases, because how do I know that someone's not going to look at the video clip we posted and someone's going to think, oh my gosh, that's my grandmother's house, you know?
Right.
Like, I know that exact fireplace. And then, you know, all heck breaks loose, and, you know, all of a sudden grandma is, you know, the black sheep of her knitting group on Tuesday nights. Because you don't know who. I've always told my team members, you don't know who knows who. You don't know how many degrees of separation you have with a client. But I mean, just I miss the confidentiality, and can't we just help people without needing public recognition for it?
Right. Well, no, because social media is all about just getting recognition for everything that we do. Moniz, we have about 2 minutes. You had a question?
Yeah, the other thing people don't take into consideration is a lot of criminals look at stuff online. You're doing a casing of the house for them, showing them everything that's in the house.
Yep.
And I can tell you that, you know, when I look at people's pictures in their house, like, I don't have any ill intentions at all. Like, I'm not going to break into somebody's house and steal anything. I'm just, you know, a curious person, and I'm a nosy person. So when I see pictures of people's house, I'm like looking around at the background, being like, oh, who put that picture up on the wall? That was a bad choice. Why don't you send that thing back to Pier 1 Imports? You know, no, I'm not really like that, but you know, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh, you know, that's interesting how, you know, whatever, this room is decorated. I look at that stuff, and so if I'm paying attention to that as a person who, you know, has zero attention to detail most of the time, imagine what people who are really ill-intending are thinking when they're looking at it.
Yep.
Well, we are going to take a break for the news. When we come back on the other side, I'm going to open up the phone lines if anybody wants to call in, because I know there's probably some people who feel the same way as our guest, Alex Matsuo. Some people probably feel the opposite and say, hey, you know, I wouldn't have my foot in the paranormal door if it wasn't for social media. So you can all call in and share at 508-996-0500 or 877-996-1420. You can tweet us as well. You can use the hashtag SpookyLive and we'll find it. You can also go to the YouTube channel where we're streaming live, and you can put it in the chat room there. And you can also text it to us at 67664. Just make sure that you start your text with WBSM. That's a lot to remember now. There's so many different ways, and I'm going to just have to print this out on a list, a rundown of how to do it. But all those different ways to get a hold of us, but the good old-fashioned way, giving us a call, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420, and we can discuss this a little bit more. Then coming up later on in the show, Marc Arvilla and Lauren Sheridan, they will be joining us. They are from the Mass Ghost Hunters Paranormal Group. They're going to be joining us to talk about SalemCon, which is coming up next weekend. Still some tickets available. We'll find out more coming back in just a bit.
New Bedford's News Talk Station. New Bedford's News Talk Station. 1420.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weiser here, along with Stephanie Burke, Science Advisor Matt Moniz, and the Silent Assassin Matt Costa. And we'll get back into the discussion about social media and whether or not it has ruined the paranormal with our guest Alex Matsuo in just a moment. And then we'll be joined later on this hour by Marc Arvilla and Lauren Sheridan to talk about SalemCon happening next weekend. But I feel now like I'm a little bit more like connected into the show. Kind of came in here in the beginning earlier, like in the middle of it, kind of just jumping into things. I was fully expecting to be late and have you guys already be on the air, and I was able to get here in time. So I think I'm settled in now.
I'm a little sad because I didn't get to say that I was Tim Weisberg.
Sorry, there'll be a week coming up where you can certainly say it. I don't know why you would ever want to say that, but...
Well, I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
For about 2 minutes.
Yes.
And then when the reality of my life comes crashing down on you, you'll say, why did I ever want this?
No, we'll just fix that stuff up.
There's a lot to fix.
That's okay.
And speaking of fixing people, you have an event coming up.
I do.
That will actually help people fix some of the questions they have about their lives.
Yes. So it's actually just online live now as of maybe a half hour ago. It's called Awaken Your Soul Purpose, and it'll be an entire day filled with everything that you could possibly think of: chakras, auras, crystal skulls, psychic development, just answering those questions as to who you are, why you're here, and what purpose do you have in this world. And it's going to be really exciting. It's facilitated by both myself and Nicole Hoos, who was our guest last week, and we have a lot of exciting things planned for that day.
So it's coming up
May 22nd.
And it's happening at
Work It Burke Wellness, which is 1193 Ashley Boulevard, New Bedford.
And people can sign up for it by...
They can go to workitburke.com and click on events and go to Awaken Your Soul Purpose, and you will find it there.
And there's a lot of questions that people need to have answered about their lives. You're going to work on those. The biggest question that I have that I would need answered is, what are you serving for lunch that day? Or have you not decided yet?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I need suggestions, though, I think.
Oh, I think we can definitely make some suggestions.
All
we talk about is food.
I know. We might have to go on a field trip.
You're in New Bedford. I recommend casserole.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's coming in the middle of the day. So there's still... What if they start doing, like, yoga stuff after they've eaten casserole?
We are starting the day with booty flow yoga, which is actually really exciting.
There'll be some booty flow after eating casserole, let me tell you.
That was good.
That goes
good.
without saying.
But it's exciting, so I'm excited to do it.
And you can pack yourself up a fully packed week or a couple of weeks there if you want to take part in that event, as well as we have 2 Legend Trips events that are happening around that time. We have on March 14th, we have the Screams of the Smith Harris House happening in Niantic, Connecticut.
May
what?
You said March 14th.
I'm sorry, May. I'm thinking the M months,
Right.
May 14th in Niantic, Connecticut at the Smith Harris House. There are only 8 tickets available left for that. 8 tickets are left.
Wow.
So you want to make sure you grab those quickly. And then the following Saturday, we'll be at Edaville in Carver, Massachusetts for our second time there, our second great event there, riding the haunted rails of Edaville. And we have still some tickets available for that as well. Tickets for both events are $99, and they include dinner, they include lectures, historical tours, and hours of guided investigation. The Ghost Ark is still working.
Good.
So I will be bringing the Ghost Ark to both of those events. I will also have it next weekend at SalemCon. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few moments. But if you want to get tickets to the Legend Trips events, you can do so by going to legendtrips.com. It's also linked up on SpookySouthcoast.com, and you can follow them on Facebook and as well as on Twitter at Legend Trips, and sign up for the mailing list so that when we put new events up on sale, you will get first crack at them. And a lot of people have been asking me, how can I go out and do that kind of stuff that you guys do? Legend Trips is the best way. And one of the things I'll be talking about at SalemCon is the difference between legend tripping and paranormal investigation. So maybe we'll get into that a little bit later on with Marc and Lauren. But we will bring back in our guest, Alex Matsuo. Alex, I hate to put you on hold.
Fine.
But we just had a call coming in, so let's see where this one takes us. Oh, and I just dropped off Alex by accident. I forgot to lock her in. Good morning, you're on Spooky... Oh, good morning. Good evening, you're on... This is going downhill. You're on Spooky South Coast. How are you?
See, this is why I don't call into your shows, then. When I call into these things, everything just goes right off the damn rails.
And that does happen. It's usually not your fault, though. It's usually completely and totally 100% my fault.
Well done, sir. You're a media professional.
Yeah, well, if I was a professional, I would know how to deflect the blame to somebody else by now.
No worries, buddy. No worries. So I just want to call in. I'm on vacation here with my family. This is if anybody doesn't know. I know you know, brother, but if anybody doesn't know, this is Dustin, known for ghost hunters, but hopefully will be known for more things at some point in time. But in the end of it all, I'm on vacation with my family. I'm down in Hershey Park. I'm laying here in bed watching TV.
Oh, and I cut him off.
What
am I doing?
Why are you touching buttons?
I just hung up on... First I hung up on our guest, then I hung up on our special surprise call-in guest, and... This is just a bad night for me.
What do I hear?
No, I think that's the playback on Alex's end. Alex, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I just hung up on Dustin Perry. So
Hopefully he calls back in.
Let me see if I can get him back on. Hang on. This is what happens is I just...
Lock in Alex now.
She's locked in. I locked her in. Let's see if I can... All right, here we go, and let's see if we can bring him back in. Dustin, is that you?
That's still me.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. I am locking you in now, too. I'm not hanging up on anybody now. So before I cut you off, Dustin, you were saying?
I was saying, sir, yeah, I'm out here I'm in Hershey Park on vacation with the family. I'm laying in bed, thumbing through Twitter here at the end of the day, and I see, ironically, your post about how is social media killing the paranormal. And I decided to just give you a call in. I was unable to be listening in, but it's something that I like to talk about quite a bit because, I really feel it's kind of like this double-edged sword thing where it's kind of cool that it's been able to unite so many people and open up a discussion. But here's the deal, and I do a lot of motivational work, and I love people, and I want to help people, but most of them are just really not nice. And I feel like people come up with some really interesting ideas, and they want to bring it forward, and they want to try to do more things and research it. And unfortunately, a lot of people are thin-skinned, and if they put it right on social media, like, hey, what about this idea? You get a bunch of people that are sitting in their parents' basements who barely go outside, who just rip them a new one and tell them how horrible they are.
And it doesn't take much either to set them off either.
No, it's insane, man. It's just little trolls sitting around eating their cheese balls in the underwear and just complaining and miserable. I just can't stand it. I don't know why people can't be supportive and loving. Like, listen, we don't all have to sing from the same hymnal. Everybody wants to talk paranormal unity, and it's wonderful. But we are not all always going to be on the same team, and that's good because if you want to talk about it, and I know, people either love or hate the term the field, but if you want to make any change in it, we can't all be doing the same things. We can't all be doing the same things we see people doing on TV, or that we heard this work, so we're all going to just do this. We have to think outside the box and try different ideas and not be afraid to do so. And part of that means being supportive of people and, just being able to exchange ideas without being so negative all the time.
Well, our guest on the line is Alex Matsuo. She's the person that wrote the article that's on paranormalenlightenment.com. And Alex, just any thoughts on what Dustin's saying?
I completely agree. It seems there is this plethora of what we call trolls just hanging out in their mom's basements eating cheese balls and, just very much with the intention of hurting others or bringing others down. And there is one thing I have noticed out there and on social media. There's a lot of new people who are coming into the community, and there are times they just don't know any better, and they post a picture that can be easily debunkable, and then they get ripped apart by people who do have a lot of knowledge, but maybe it's because they've dealt with a lot of backlash from others before, where maybe they've engaged in a lot of arguments online about, why that little dust blob on the photo is not an orb, it's just dust, and they've become so desensitized and like getting a chip on their shoulder. And then when someone who really does mean well, posts their picture online saying, hey, I caught this really cool photo of a ghost, they just get ripped apart to the point where that person's like, well, screw this, I'm going to leave because all y'all are mean. So it's, just trying to, at the end of the day, it's trying to find that happy medium of, let's usher in this new generation of investigators and researchers, but at the same time, objectively spreading the knowledge without, not without hurting feelings, because our feelings are going to get hurt no matter what. I mean, that's just life.
Yeah,
but,
you can't help that.
But not be so vicious about it.
And not keep piling on. And Dustin, we were talking before about how, a lot of people that are in the field are trying to, and using the field in quotation marks, but a lot of people who are into this some of them are coming into this with the wrong idea. They're coming into it as, this is my ticket to getting on television. And I'll ask you, because you're somebody who has been on television, but has also always been very accessible through social media. Do you find that, people are, for some reason, for whatever reason it might be, they're clamoring to you for your opinion on things? And have you ever seen a situation where, people have kind of tried to use you as the expert and use your opinion to kind of push their own agenda on social media?
Yeah, no, totally, man. And I appreciate you using that term, because that's what I was going to actually mention. The whole expert thing. It's like, yeah, I may have been doing this for for over 20 and some odd years now, you know, and to Alex's point too, like somebody will put up something and they don't understand it, and they're looking at it, and they're looking for justification or for information, and instead people just get, you know, slandered and criticized by others, instead of, you know, say, oh, you know what, you know, I looked at that picture, it's really interesting, but in my experience, you know, I found this, and this. Instead, it's you're an idiot. That's, you know, dust. It's like, that's not cool. Like, you know, people just don't want to be supportive or kind to people. But my whole thing with, you know, the expert title is just like, it's always been a problem for me. I always tell people one of the first slides of my paranormal lecture is I am not the expert on this field, because it's something that still has very little that's been proven, you know, and you know, people like to throw around, oh, well, we scientifically research. It's like, no, you use something that's got a couple of lights that flash. That's not necessarily science, you know. So I always tell people I've been doing this a long time. So you know, thankfully, because of my travels and stuff, I have you know, maybe a little more knowledge about certain things, but there's still so much of it that is yet to be figured out. And I think that we need to really be supportive of each other and kind of all work forward toward that same common goal. So I'll have to check out the article, Alex, but I'm glad somebody else is putting that out there. And God bless you both, and I hope you have a great night.
All right, well, we will let you get back to your vacation, but Dustin, we got to get you in here sometime on a Saturday night. Stephanie's been saying how she's never had the opportunity to meet you in person, so we got to have you come into the studio.
Let's hook it up, absolutely. Let me know, because, you know, I start going on the road and stuff, doing events in the next couple of weeks or whatever, but I've got some time, man. When I get back in town, hit me up, we'll put it together. All
right, well, sounds great, and don't eat too much chocolate.
Too late.
Have a great night.
See you guys. Peace.
Take care. Dustin. That is Dustin Parry calling in, and we thank him for doing so, taking time out of his vacation. But, I mean, he brought up a good point, too, Alex, with the idea of people seem to think that because they have done this enough or because they have, you know, maybe had more exposure to things, that they become experts in it. And I agree with Dustin that you can't really be an expert in what all this means and be an expert in the right way of doing things, but I think you can kind of be an expert in the wrong way. I think you can certainly become an authority in what not to do in paranormal research.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with that. And, oh, my gosh, the term expert is so controversial these days in the community, because on one side there are people who say there are no experts, and I'm not on the side to say that there are no experts, but you're right. There are areas where, you know, you can be very knowledgeable in, and one of those is what not to do, you know, when you're in the paranormal community. But also, I mean, I feel that there are people who have dedicated years of their lives to studying a certain topic. Maybe they took classes or did their own research, wrote books and whatnot. And I'm definitely not an expert in anything, but I do have my little, collaborative team that I call upon when I'm stuck on a case or if there's something I need to know more information about. So, and the other flip side with the whole expert, conversation is I feel like some people take that too far to where, well, if there are no experts, then I'm going to do whatever I want, and with very little integrity or class, because hey, there's no experts, so who's to judge me for this? So I'm going to call people out. I'm going to cuss them out. I'm going to call them names, but again, there are no experts, so I'm not an authority when it comes to this. So I'm like, what are you doing? And so I don't want to say that we should start utilizing the term experts in the field, because I don't know if it would even really help, because this isn't a field or a science that we can prove yet. And I just opened up Pandora's box for some people, but the whole idea of ghosts and whatnot, I mean, we're still trying to find that holy grail of proof to bring to the scientific community in the world. See, there is an afterlife. So,
good luck with that.
I know, right? Good luck. But I feel like, when we throw away the idea of having experts, for some people, when we throw away that idea of not having when we throw away man, I can talk tonight. if we don't hold ourselves to a higher standard, maybe we're not going to call it experts. Maybe authority is a good word for it. But what goal are we going to achieve if there's not some sort of credibility or respect or something to obtain? Like after we've all, researched and done these investigations, ghost hunts, talked to clients, dedicated years of our lives. I mean, at the end, what do you want to earn something? Do you want to earn that title of expert? Do you want to earn that title of, being that go-to person? I mean, I feel like sometimes we need to have some sort of standard, and maybe expert's not the right word for it.
But expert is something that
need something.
Expert should never be no matter what it is, whether it's the paranormal or anything. Expert should never be anything that you bestow upon yourself. It should be something that other people bestow upon you. And I've had that happen. I've been introduced as a paranormal expert, or when I've gone to do a lecture somewhere, and I usually just take it in stride, when I don't really acknowledge it, but I do try to submit to the same theory and the same thing that you're saying, that if you start putting yourself out there as one, then you're kind of, I don't want to say belittling the work of other people, but you're kind of sidelining what other people have done just based on the idea that it makes it sound like you think that you're better than them automatically, even if that's not your intention. It's just how it comes across. Sorry, Moniz, you were going to say.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say, in this field, to me, the term expert just means somebody that swam more laps in this basically crap pool.
No, that's true. Some of us can hold our head up over it better than others. And Alex, you were saying, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
I agree, and I'm reading the comments on to the right here, and there's really interesting comments going on.
I was going to say, Stephanie, you're monitoring the chat over on the YouTube stream. Is there any good questions or points that we should bring up with Alex in the couple of minutes we have left?
Well, I think Alex was just about to bring it up herself, so you cut her off.
I know, but I'm trying to give you a segment here, Stephanie.
That's fine.
I'm trying to give you a role on the show, a new role on the show, a new thing you can add into your repertoire.
Role. You act like you just showed up yesterday.
No, a new aspect to what you already do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing.
The question that we did have was...
I just picked on you because I knew you had something in your mouth.
I know you did. And it's so that way I don't cough. Thanks a lot. It seems like social media has made it so much easier for mind viruses, quotations, to spread, meaning that negative thought forms can spread easily. So how can that be fought?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Is all this negativity kind of feeding into the paranormal work and making that kind of slap us back in the face?
Not to mention, you also have people who like to send over, curses and spells and, bad juju over to other people that tick them off, which I've had happen to me before. I never believed it before, but after what happened to me, I was like, okay, maybe there is something to the whole negativity and whatnot. So I mentioned the chat room, grounding, shielding, that's really key. And not letting yourself get up in arms over what's being posted online, because at the end of the day, it's a post on social media. If you start getting so affected by what's being posted, you just close the computer, walk away. Go on a walk, take a breath of fresh air, go get yourself an ice cream, do something positive, because the best way to combat and counter the negativity or the mind virus is do something positive. Just fill your life up with light, because light can overpower that darkness. So, and just close the computer.
And then when you go out for ice cream, take a picture of it and put it up on social media, because that will get you all kinds of likes. Because trust me, I work on a lot of different aspects of things myself, and I'm involved in a lot of things, and I put up pictures on Instagram and Facebook and try to put it all out there because I'm in media, so I have to kind of promote myself. But I can tell you, nothing gets likes and follows for you like putting up pictures of food. So if all paranormal investigators just stop worrying about putting up their quote-unquote evidence and just put up whatever their midnight snack was that they were all enjoying as a team during the investigation, you'd gain so much more popularity in a positive way.
Especially if it was a good snack.
Who can disagree with food?
Right, yeah, food. It's like the perfect thing for everything. We do have a call coming in. Let's see if this is a question for you, Alex. We'll take this call. I have you locked in so you won't drop off. Good evening. You're on Spooky Southcoast. Do you have a question for our guest, Alex Matsuo?
Well, more of a comment, but if I get hung up on, I can understand.
Well, we only have a few moments before our next guest, so we may hang up on you, but that's okay.
Oh, gee.
It'll be intentional, though, Ross, just so you know.
Well, first of all, I think the discussion tonight has been absolutely awesome, but I just wanted to kind of know her kind of point of view maybe on the whole idea of just social media and the double-edged sword that Dustin kind of talked upon.
About, some of the positive things that can come out of it? Because we've been talking a lot about the negative.
Yeah, because I feel like from my own experiences, I've met a lot of good people. I've met some bad people, but, there's also just like anything, that human aspect to everything. There's going to be good people, there's going to be bad people. And if it's more or less just that situation versus social media.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, is it not social media that is the cause and the root of the negativity? Is it just people ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alex, you must feel. I mean, you do mention some of the positive things that have happened, and we'll end this part of the night. We'll end this discussion as on a positive note. There must be some good things that have come out of this, of social media and the paranormal.
I mean, people are more open than ever about their experiences. I mean, you have people coming together who have had similar encounters with the paranormal, and you have so much accessibility to so much knowledge these days, and so many people with different backgrounds and education. I mean, you have classes. I mean, I know there are sites that do free classes now, free webinars on the paranormal, and it's given us an opportunity to connect and network with others, and that by itself is a beautiful thing. And yes, negatives are going to happen, and it's just kind of life at this point. But the good thing about social media is it has connected us closer than ever with those who have had similar encounters. And if we can all come together and eventually, agree to one helm for the ship, I mean, I think we could do some pretty incredible things.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Ross, for the call.
No problem.
You have a great night.
And I will see you guys at next weekend.
I was going to say, hope to see you next weekend. Sounds good. All right, we'll see you then.
All right.
And thank you to our guest, Alex Matsuo, for joining us. AlexMatsuo.com is her website, AlexMatsuo.com. And you can follow her on Twitter at Alex Matsuo. And we look forward to having you on again to talk about some more of your writing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on. It was great.
All right, and I will send you a friend request on Facebook. Ha ha ha! That's just my way of ending it on a joke. Okay, have a great night. Thank you.
Me too.
Take care. And we are going. I wanted to make some sort of a social media joke before we left. I had to. But think about it though. Think about all the friendships and all the connections that have been made. Think about how many times we've booked the show over social media.
Right.
Pretty much every week. So this and we use it as a tool to talk amongst ourselves for it. So there's been a lot of good.
There is a lot of good. It just depends on how you use it. It's a platform. Think of it as like standing on a soapbox. Are you going to stand on it and yell and spew a bunch of negativity, or are you going to spread a bunch of positivity?
See, it's funny because you can actually see there's a direct line. Mm-hmm. And it's my fault because I really shouldn't allow people on a professional and paranormal basis to be on my private Facebook. But in the early days, I couldn't manage to.
Right.
So it was, I just let everybody in. So everybody's swimming in that pool now. So now you're all stuck. And... you can see on mine. There's times when I'm putting out a post that is meant to be for the public and meant to be, something positive, and then there's times when I'm just bitching. Mm-hmm. And that's what you get with me. You get to both sides, and I think you get that with a lot of people. So I can understand when people want to be that way on a paranormal basis, have the good and the bad. But I agree with Alex. If it's your group's page or your group's, presence on social media, it should be as professional as if you were putting it on your website. If you wouldn't put it on your own website, if you wouldn't want your grandmother to read it,
Right.
Don't put it up there. Don't put it for people to find out. So we are going to be joined now by our next guests. We have one of them calling in. We're waiting for the other person to call in. But we have Marc, Arvilla, and Lauren Sheridan joining us to talk about the second Salem Con, which is happening next weekend, Friday, Saturday. Your chance to come out and experience the world of the paranormal in one of the most historic cities in Massachusetts, Salem, Massachusetts. So we have joining us. Who do we have on this line? Is this Marc or Lauren?
It is Marc.
What? You called first. You're supposed to let the lady call first.
She was trying to call first, but she keeps getting a busy signal.
Well, we're not that busy, so...
Well, you must be extremely busy and just don't know it.
That might be.
Stuff.
The phone lines are open, at least as far as I know. But we'll certainly keep an eye out for her call coming in. But we'll start the discussion with you, Marc. Did you think that, when you started putting this all together for last year, for the initial Salem Con, did you think you'd get to the point where you had a second one? Were you worried, that it was all going to come together?
I can honestly say that the week leading up to it, I was worried that the first SalemCon wasn't even going to go off the way it should have. But once it went through and we were in the midst of it, it seemed as though it was going as planned, and this year was definitely going to happen. There was no avoiding it. As a matter of fact, the general sales manager at the Hawthorne happened to be there on Sunday when everyone was leaving, and he came over to us and he said, "Hey, sounds like everything went great. When do you want to talk about next year?" And we looked at him and we went, "Give us a few weeks, would you?"
Let's get home and decompress from this one.
Yeah, exactly.
But it went off great last year. Everybody that I talked to had a fantastic time, and they couldn't wait. They were saying as they were leaving the hotel on Sunday, when's the next one? When's the next one? So that's got to feel good to know that all the effort and time and dedication that you guys put into it, it turned out to be such a successful event.
That's whenever anybody asks me, what is so great about the event, what's your favorite part of the event, I think Lauren and I both agree. It is exactly what you just said. It's when the event's over and everyone is leaving and you get that sense of satisfaction because everyone's happy, everyone had a good time, and they're looking forward to the next one. And that is the reward that we get from the event, is just hearing about all the great stories about how much fun everyone had.
All right, well, we are bringing Lauren in now on the phone, so now she can hear you, so now make sure that you only say nice things about her.
Absolutely. I say nice things anyway.
Yes,
She's always listening.
Make sure you only say nice things about me now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what he said before you were on the air. I'll tell you next weekend. So we were talking a little bit. I don't know if you were able to catch the discussion. We were talking about the feeling of satisfaction that came with putting on a great event last year. But then now the pressure is up, Lauren, for this year, because now you have to deliver again, and people are going to say, well, how is this one going to be different than last year? And you guys have put together an event that has a very interesting overarching theme.
Yeah, it's like having a second child. Like the first one is really tough, and the second one just pops out and does its thing.
And then you get to pick which one's your favorite.
This one's actually going to be Extreme Hauntings, which is our theme for this year. Our theme I put in quotes because we don't want to have a theme. We don't want to make it like, oh, yes, Extreme Hauntings. Everyone has to think about that, and all the lectures have to surround that theme, even though they kind of do. But I guess what I'm trying to say is we want to make it, yes, Extreme Hauntings is what we're going to be talking about, but really we're just drawing people there to discuss any kind of thing that they want to discuss about the paranormal. We'll put it that way.
And so when people come together for these events, I was somebody who was not really one of these convention people, for the first 8 years or so of the show. And then John Tobin dragged me up to Lake George, and I met you guys, and you had me at SalemCon, and I saw the connections that people can make. And this isn't just about getting people, and I think people outside of the, the paranormal world, people that aren't on the inside need to understand that these events like SalemCon, they're a great way for you to get in and to bridge the gap between you and the people who work in this field, this community. This is a way for the general public to come out and learn. So it's not just a bunch of paranormal people getting, if they have a plumbers convention in Las Vegas, the only people that go to that are plumbers. It's not open to the public. But this is open to the public for people to come and learn and find out what it is that we do.
Right, and it's very true. And, Tim, I am a perfect example of that because my first experience with a paranormal convention was ParaHistoryCon in Lake George. I had never been involved in any convention of any sort. I had never even been to one, to be honest. And because I'd been working at the museum and because I had been a big part of the museum and the fort at that time, I was brought in with John Tobin and Chip Reichenthal at the time to collaborate with them to put the event together. And I ended up meeting people who I, honest to God, didn't think that I would ever talk to after that weekend. And look where we are now. We're planning SalemCon 2. So we went through Parahistorycon, Parahistorycon 2, SalemCon, and SalemCon 2.
So you went from being unconventional to being conventional.
I went from not knowing a person, a damn soul in the room, to wanting to be a part of it and wanting to put things on like this because I had so much fun at the first one. And I thought, well, if someone like me who doesn't really know anything about the paranormal can meet people who are very accepting of me and invite me in and allow me to ask questions and want me to learn, well, why can't I do the same for the night? It's almost like paying it forward, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And there are people who, as I was standing at my table last year, there are people who come up to you that will, just be looking for some very rudimentary basic information because they're having something that they're dealing with or they have an interest in it and they don't know where to begin and they're looking for that. But sometimes people can come up to you. There was a young person, I want to say maybe like 12 or 13, I'm just guessing, that came up to me last year and started just discussing all this paranormal theory, and I was blown away. I said, whoa, slow down. I got to keep up. Mm-hmm. And I said, what group are you a part of? Oh, no, I'm not part of any group. I read about this stuff. I've never actually done it. And so you get a great cross-section of the public and a great cross-section of the interest level the public has in the weird stuff that we look into.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And, of course, the best part about it, Marc, is you're doing all this in a pretty awesome location and a haunted location at that.
When we first thought about SalemCon, thinking about Salem, Massachusetts, it's like one of the spots you think of as a paranormal mecca. Everybody talks about Salem. Everybody knows about the witch history. Everybody knows that they think the whole place is haunted. The entire town's haunted. There's ghosts just running about everywhere. And it really happens. So people should definitely come out and see all the ghosts that are just running around Salem. But it's something that when you think of where a location can sort of be the event itself, and I mean Salem's the first place that comes to mind for me. And the fact that there was nothing really going on anymore paranormal-wise in Salem was mind-boggling to me. And it's actually been so easy to get this event going. And I mean, well, I say it's easy. Lauren will tell you a different story because she's the one that hammers all the books and, keeps up all the stuff that we need to make sure that all our ducks are in a row. She's the one.
Yeah, so basically she's doing all the work while you're just taking all the glory. That's how it works.
Basically, yeah.
I do the math and Marc swoons everyone.
Everybody needs that guy out front. So trust me, I know.
Who chose me? Why'd that happen? But Salem is the place, and it's the fact that nothing was happening was just so confusing to me, and I'm glad it worked out last year. We chose to do it in April. Everybody's like, why don't you do it in October? Why don't you do it in October? Well, Salem's got everything going on in October. It doesn't need a paranormal event in October.
Right.
The town needs something.
Why don't you have a wedding and a bar mitzvah at the same time? Does that sound
right?
fun?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And why would you do it at a time when people are going to be going there anyway, when you could have a whole separate reason for them to come to this great city?
Exactly.
And that's what we wanted for Salem itself, is kind of infuse the city at the beginning of the season. I mean, everything starts opening up in Salem April 1st, the very first weekend in April. So we're giving them some business and bringing people to see Salem right in the very beginning of their season to try and see if we can help them out and, kickstart their season. So.
But one of the biggest issues I've always had as a paranormal researcher and looking at Salem is you hear these stories, but a lot of the places have kind of closed their doors to letting people in and looking around for it. But you were able to find great locations last year for people to go out on the ghost hunt on Saturday night, and you found some. I mean, you told me you guys, you and Scott Gruenwald, you're going to be in the basement of the T-shirt shop. And I was like, okay, a T-shirt shop? How is this going to work? And then when we got in there, we were having some amazing experiences.
Yep. Yeah. Geez, Tim, the Ouija board thing. I mean, I won't say what it was unless you like agree to it. But when you guys had experiences with the group beforehand, and then I brought our group down, and we were doing the Ouija board, and I had people from my group that left after certain words popped up and certain things were said, and they were like, "I'm out, I'm done. I'll see you later." It was so intense.
And I can only imagine that when everybody's there and they're all bringing their own energies to this, and you're putting yourself in a place that has such a rich history and a history that sometimes can have a little negativity attached to it. That I'm not surprised that some of those experiences become overwhelming for people.
And you're exactly right that you're like, it's a T-shirt shop that, yeah, great, oh, wow, but it's a T-shirt shop that at one time was part of the underground tunnels for the city of Salem. So,
And just it shows you that the history is everywhere in Salem. It's around every corner and in every nook and cranny.
Exactly.
And that was one of the things when we got those locations. It's like, look, I know, like you said, look, I know we're saying, hey, it's a T-shirt shop. But, a few hundred years ago, this wasn't a T-shirt shop. The waterfront was right out the back door. Now there's buildings out there and parking lots, but the waterfront was right there. The goods came in. They were smuggled into those smugglers' tunnels. And, that's where you start picking up the whole, kind of knock the facade down, knock down the building in your mind, and just remember that everywhere we are in that part of Salem is historic, and it goes back. And whether you're sitting down drinking a beer at the tavern in the Hawthorne or you're in the basement of a T-shirt shop, something historic happened there. So. Yeah.
See, I wasn't really that concerned about being a T-shirt shop. I just thought you guys were going to make me go downstairs and start printing up T-shirts like I was going to be slave labor or something.
Yes. Grunwald had the whip ready.
He did. But, and Scott Grunwald will be there again this year. And this last year at SalemCon was my first encounter with him in person. And, anybody that knows him, he has a lot of fun, a lot of goofing around during the course of the event. The pink tutu was outstanding. But when it came time to do the investigation, it's like there was a switch flipped in him. And he immediately became this serious paranormal investigator. And we had a great time and really found some pretty amazing evidence.
Yeah, he does that. He's got 4 different personalities. One wears a tutu, one wears a habit. He does. One wears Hello Kitty sweatpants.
It's definitely worth
what he's gonna put on.
It's worth the price of admission just to see what he's going to be walking around in.
He goes through more costume changes than like Britney Spears does during one of her shows.
No, he does. Britney Spears, Bono, and Bon Jovi, Scott Grunwald. The 4 of them go through the most costume changes.
I can only imagine what his bags must look like when he gets off the plane. What he has to carry with him. So he'll be there, and there'll also be some other names that are back from last year, like John Zaffis will be back, and Krista Chesery was there last year too, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll be back, and so who else are some of the people that people can look forward to meeting next weekend?
Brian Cano will be back. Frank Sinelli will be there. Who else, Mark?
Steve DeShavi from the Dead Files will be making an appearance in Salem.
Johnny Goombat, Steve DeShavi, how you doing?
Who, by the way, is I didn't have a lot of experience with him on television. I've never really watched the Dead Files, so I didn't really know him as his television character. But now I know him as a real life character, and he is. People will have a lot of fun with Steve. He's just a great time to be around him. He's hilarious.
He is. Oh wait, Samantha Hawes. Hello.
Sorry. Samantha will be there for the VIP party on Friday night, and she's going to be there most of the day on Saturday as well. She does have some commitments that's going to cause her to have to cut out a little bit early, but she'll be there most of the day. So if you do want to come and see Samantha, make sure you get there sometime before noontime, I'll say, so that you can get in line and be able to see Samantha and spend some time, get some photographs, ask some questions.
She has commitments, a.k.a. chillins.
And one of the nice things this year, too, with the lecture series, unfortunately, Bob Murch had to back out. We were very disappointed in that, but he's going through major back issues, and he just can't do it. But it has afforded us the opportunity to put a break into the lectures, which we didn't have last year, which I thought, first of all, as myself and Lauren putting on the event, having people sit through every lecture last year was amazing to us. People sat through every single thing somebody had to say, and it blew us away. And the one thing they said afterwards was, geez, we wish we had a break for lunch because we didn't want to miss anybody. So this year we put in a little break for lunch in there. There'll be an hour break between 12 and 1, and everything will wrap up around 5 o'clock.
See, I remember talking with you guys about that. You're like, there's no break in the speakers, but you were blown away by that. You weren't expecting people would sit there, but it happened. There were people that were front and center for every lecture, and they probably, they still even sitting there through all that, they still had time to go upstairs and go through all the other stuff. But, that's when you know that you have people that are really passionate about it, when they want to sit there and listen to, even when they would sit there and listen to me talk for 45 minutes. You know that.
Yeah. But that's another reason why we have a quote-unquote theme, because we want, we want the lectures to mean something. We don't want everyone to just get up and do, hey, let's do a Q&A, or, hey, let's talk about, what I wrote last year. It's about, let's all talk about this one theme, this one topic that we all know a lot about. Let's get together and share it. And we're going to have Rosalind Bound with us, too, this year.
Oh, she's one of my favorite people. Yeah. I mean, anybody that's ever spent time around her, she radiates positivity. Yes. And you'll feel like $1 million after spending some time with her. And it's just a great lineup of all kinds of people. And as Marc was telling me, I guess I'm kicking things off at 9:30 with my lecture.
Let me tell you something, Tim. We're going to have a nice big pot of Deadly Grounds brewed for you.
I'm going to need it. See, it's not so much the getting up at 5:30 and going on the air from 6 to 9. It's staying up for the VIP party the night before. That does me in.
I'm going to need it.
And so the VIP party, that's going to start at what, 7 o'clock on Friday?
No, that goes from 8 to midnight.
8, okay.
On Friday, yep.
So 8 to midnight, you have your chance to come and interact with everybody. There's still some tickets available for that, right?
No, VIP party is sold out.
You guys saved one for me, right?
Oh, well, you know what? I guess we can pay it forward and let you in.
All right,
we do need a doorman. We do need a doorman. So.
I'd be happy to do that.
Excellent.
You got to grow the beard out real long, though.
I don't have enough time between now and then.
So if someone tries to get in, you can stop them with the beard.
I can tell you, I was pretty much standing by the door the whole time last year. Anyway, because there were so many people in there, and it was, they were all trying to get me to dance. I was like, I'm going to go just hang out by the door. So I'm technically here, but nobody knows. So they can't drag me out there. Stephanie, you're giving me this look. There's going to be video. I was dancing in the ring tonight at the wrestling event that I was at.
Were you?
Yes.
There'll be video.
I was giving you a look because there was a weird car outside.
I saw that. Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, I'll show you guys too when I get it. It's going to be embarrassing,
so
but
were you just moving side to side? Were you
no, I was strutting.
Blown?
I was strutting because Sweet Scott Ashworth was wrestling tonight, and we go way back. And he dragged me up into the ring and had me do the Sweet Scott Ashworth strut with him in the ring.
Oh, that's all Marc right there wrestling.
Yeah, Marc, you would have had a blast. I got to get you to come down here one of these times for one of these local shows. And we had a wrestler tonight, the Devil's Reject Brandon Webb, who hails from Salem, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Not really. He's from New Bedford, but it's the gimmick.
Don't tell.
So, but we can talk some wrestling next weekend for sure. But so you've got everything going on with the VIP party on Friday night, and then the actual event on Saturday kicks off at what time? What time will the doors open for the public?
Doors will open for the public at 9. Lectures will start at 9:15.
And
actually, we'll probably. And to be honest, Marc and I are there like all day,
9:15.
all day, every day. So
I was told 9:30.
If people start coming in at like 8:45, we'll be ready for them.
I'm going to need those 15 minutes, man.
Yeah, I know.
I might. Matt Costa's going to be here, running things on this end. I might even cut out a few minutes early and make him. Matt, I'm going to want to take a shower. I'm going to stink. All right. So
get him a hat with a beard on it, and he can do your lecture for you.
And then I'm going to be talking about my lecture is going to be on paranormal investigation. Why you're probably doing it wrong. Yep. And we'll bring into that some aspects of extreme hauntings and the fact that doing this wrong is putting you at risk. So we'll get into some of that as well.
How about I just get a beard, and I'll start your lecture.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then you can shower.
And then you can say you're Tim Weisberg.
I can finally.
You'll fulfill all of your.
And I have a spooky Southcoast shirt. I think I actually have the exact one you're wearing right now, so it'll be perfect. It'll be beautiful.
All your dreams will come true.
By the way, I know we're really limited on time, and I do appreciate that you guys brought us on for this to be able to talk about SalemCon. But what you guys were talking about before with the investigating and everybody being on the same page or not being on the same page and social media ruining things, and I totally agree with Dustin, and I know Lauren and I share the same opinions, but we totally agree with Dustin on the fact that it's a double-edged sword. It really has brought a lot of people together, really helped a lot of people, but at the same time, it's really tearing other things apart because everybody's so judgmental. And it really stinks that, that we can't agree that somebody's an expert, somebody's not an expert, somebody's professional, somebody's not a professional. None of us are on the same page.
Right.
And it's really frustrating that we can't just get on the same. We don't have to read the same story, but maybe we're on the same page with it. You know, and I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But
because, well, the problem is that I don't have to agree with what you say, Mark, and I don't have to agree with what you say, Tim. But
yeah, God knows you don't.
If you're hold on, but if your opinion is an educated opinion, I can look at it and say, you know what, I don't agree with you. Your facts are correct, but I just don't agree with your opinion. There are too many people in this field who will look at you and go, you know what, I don't like you or the way you look, so I don't agree with you, and I'm going to tell everyone on Facebook and Twitter that you're a jackass and you're fake and you're this and that, and for whatever reason, people believe that one.
Well, one of the biggest reasons behind it is jealousy, and a lot of it can be born out of just the stupidest and unsubstantial reasons. The fact that you're putting on SalemCon and somebody else, is putting on another event, 6 months later across the other side of the country, people might look at that as, well, you're in competition. No, you're not in competition. You want each other to succeed. You help each other.
Exactly. That's the whole point of why we do this in the first place, is to help each other out. And if you can't look at someone else and say, hey, you know what? I appreciate what you're doing, and I see that you're working really hard, and I see that you're genuine, and I want to help you. Then you know what? Go screw and get out, because we don't want you. There's no room for you. Let's be honest.
Well, the double-edged sword aspect, though, plays into what you guys do, because, a lot of the following and the people that you built up for SalemCon comes over social media. I walked into that VIP party last year, and people are coming up to me and introducing themselves to me as people that I only knew from Facebook. And I turned to Jeff Blanchard and I said, it's like my social media came to life, and everybody is all in one room.
Yeah, exactly. So you do have the good following, and but it's like the bad seeds. How do you weed out the bad seeds?
I might, just for fun, I might show up next weekend and just decide to be like the human internet troll. Like, I might just walk around and being like, oh yeah, I saw the picture you put. It was total crap. Like, and just see if anybody picks up on the fact that I'm doing it to be funny.
That would be awesome.
That'd be fantastic.
I might just do that. I'll, like walk up to John Zaffis. Hey, John Zaffis, how's it going? Yeah, so, 30 plus years of faking stuff. How'd you pull that off?
Right?
That'll go over well.
Oh my God, he would punch you.
No, I think
He would punch you.
Brian Cano would probably punch me first before John got the chance to.
No.
No,
Brian would step back. Brian would step back, cross his arms, and go, and he's going to watch what happens.
Yeah, that's true.
The old man doesn't need anybody to step in for him.
And he'll record every moment mentally. Every moment.
There's one person I definitely will not be pissing off. That's the Chevy. I will not. I don't mess with law enforcement. I know where my bread is buttered. I know who to respect. But so anyway, so we were saying that the people can come in starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. How much is tickets for just to come in on Saturday and take part in all the SalemCon festivities?
So Saturday tickets at the door. You can still get them on mghparanormal.com as well. You can go. That's one of the few things that's still live in the web store right now. Are those tickets? They cost $20. That gets you into the vendor area and also downstairs for the lectures in the library. And we are going to have a couple raffles, at least one or two raffles going on during the day as well, with some really cool gifts from our friends over at Ghost Detectives and the Ghost Hunter store with some of their awesome gadgets. I think we're going to have a couple high-def cameras available, probably like GoPros or something like, or the GoPro knockoffs. We're going to have some of those available, I believe, and we're going to have a cool little trigger object, a dog that's being developed right now by Bob Christopher, that'll be available for raffle 2.
I heard that the grand prize in the raffle is a date with Scott Gruenwald, and it's not even gender specific. Like, anybody could win.
It could be anybody.
And
anyone can win that.
Guaranteed to be, at least 45% romantic. So
at least.
It should. Hey, as a guy that spent a whole night in a basement with him, I can tell you, it's well worth investing. So, and also the ghost hunts are happening Saturday night now. Are those sold out completely?
Those are also sold out. Yes.
Ah, so we'll just tease them for next time.
We will tease them for next time. Not for nothing, but the ghost hunts and the VIP parties, those are the things that go the fastest. And then people who are kind of people like me, who I was the very first time I went to a convention, are the ones that come in and do the conference this year, and then perhaps next year are the ones that maybe do more.
Right. So, yeah. So
those are sold out too.
And Stephanie, this will be your first paranormal convention. You'll be there with,
my
hanging
first
out with...
Salem Con, yes, but not my first paranormal convention.
Well, I'm sorry, your first Salem Con, your first time. And when was the last time you were actually in Salem?
The last time I was in Salem?
It's probably been a while.
I don't know. It's been years.
So it's changed. Trust me, it's changed since the last time you've been there.
Well, I want to go anyways. I wanted to go up the night before because my family dates back to the Salem witch trials. So I love to be up there anyways. But
wait, so you're going to go up Friday?
I wanted to go up Friday. It's still up in the air.
Can you just make sure I'm awake for 5:30 so I can go on the air?
No. Why would I even get up that early?
All right. I guess I'll have the front desk do it.
If I go up Friday, I don't have a baby. I don't have to wake up.
I just felt bad because when the front desk did it for me last year, I yelled at the guy.
Did you really?
Aww.
He was like, "This is your 5:30 wake up call." I'm like, "Call me back at 5:45."
Oh,
is that the snooze button? Is that that's the hotel snooze button? You yell at them. Call me back at 5:45.
Hey, whatever works, man. Whatever gets me up and on the air. That's all that matters.
Can I just throw out a public service announcement real quick?
Sure.
Quick little PSA. Quick little PSA. If you're coming to Salem Con, and you better be coming to Salem Con if you're listening to this right now, when you come to Salem Con, I should say, please, please, please respect the laws of the city. If something closes at dusk, do not enter it after dusk. Please, please, please do not be that person who gets arrested or thrown out of the town because you went someplace after dusk that you weren't supposed to.
All right,
Listen, I'll come after you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that we want to convince the world that the paranormal community is extremely respectful. So don't go and ruin it for the rest of us by screwing up.
Thank you.
So. And I just asked.
The more you know.
And if anybody wants to get tickets or find out some more information, mghparanormal.com. It's all up there. We've only got about 20 seconds left. So guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll hang out with you next weekend.
Thank you so much, guys. Can't wait to see you next week.
All right, and have fun with this week getting ready.
Oh yeah.
You'll sleep well next Sunday night.
True.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
And that is Marc, Arvilla, and Lauren Sheridan of Mass Ghost Hunters Paranormal Society. They're joining us to talk about SalemCon happening next weekend. Hope to see you all there. That means there'll be no live show here next week, but we might have something pre-recorded. Maybe we'll have them run an old show. We'll figure all that out. We've got 7 days to figure all that out. And so until next time, for Matt, for Stephanie, for Chris, I'm Tim. Stay spooked.
Bedford's News Talk Station. New Bedford's News Talk Station. 1420 WBSM. New Bedford. Streaming worldwide on Radio Pop and on WBSM.com.
From ABC News, I'm Marc Remmel.